that winning the war in Afghanistan is more important than the lives lost in the process. We, as the proposition, have rightfully identified this House as the Taliban. There is no unfair argument here, given that there are two opposing ideas in this war, the United States, NATO forces, and the Taliban. And it is not narrowing debate in any which way to choose an equal side in that war. So, moving on. I would like to reintroduce the judging criteria that my partner introduced in his speech and emphasize that the opposition team did not address this judging criteria. Therefore, under the rules of silence is consent, this judging criteria holds through the debate. And referring back to the judging criteria, which was superiority of values, that is relevant to this House. Although they argued this House, they did not refute the judging criteria. So, in this debate, every point must be relevant to the Taliban, as this House. And Judge, keep this in mind as we go through all of their points. All of our points. Our first point was that we have called a jihad against the insurgents that have wrongfully invaded our country. Now they said that we must look at the 5,000 U.S. troops that have been lost and several the huge amount of casualties of Afghan citizens. Now, first of all, that the United States and NATO forces have wrongfully intruded on our legitimate government. We were in power, and everything was fine before the United States toppled our power. It is the United States that caused all these deaths. If it wasn't for them, we'd still be ruling, and there would be less deaths. So keep this in mind as I take that point.
Isn't it true that the U.S. attacked because of terrorist attacks and attempted terrorist attacks, not simply because they didn't agree with the government?
Yes, the U.S. did attack based on attempted terrorist attacks. However, that is more closely related to Al-Qaeda, not the Taliban. So the United States has no right to intrude on our land and topple our legitimate government in search of their own protection. Secondly, we as the Taliban have expelled insurgent forces before during the war in which the Soviet Union tried to take over Afghanistan. Now they've come back and said this is a fact. Yes, it is a fact, but it does show that we have the ability to return ourselves as legitimate rulers, and we have the ability to win this war and uphold our value, whereas they have not shown that they have the ability to uphold their value in this debate. Third point, fighting the good fight in Afghanistan and waging our jihad, this would promote and boost the Taliban image. And they said this is not necessarily a good fight, but if we refer back to the judging, or a good idea, but if we refer back to the judging criteria, how is enriching the PR, the public image of the Taliban not good for the Taliban? And they failed to show this. So this point, it can be dragged across the flow, and we've won this point clearly today. Yes?
Are you saying that it's going to create positive views everywhere by them, like retaking over this country, possibly putting more people in danger and oppressing many?
I'm saying that it's going to be good for the Taliban, which according to the judging criteria is what you've agreed to debate upon. So we have won this point. Our fourth point, just like in Vietnam, the United States is losing resolve to continue this war, and we can use this to topple their army, I guess. We can use this to cripple their momentum and win this fight. And they've countered with that it's not only that ruling Afghanistan is not only the right of the Taliban. However, we were in government. We were the legitimate rulers of Afghanistan before the United States chose to fight us, and they illegally removed us from power. So in this point, we are in the right. Fifth, we are protecting ourselves, and again, this goes back to us being legitimate rulers. And sixth, that we are defending our homeland, protecting our rights, and it is the United States that is incurring such. It is their fault, and which is why it is their fault that so many casualties have been sustained, and Yeah. So, moving on to the off-base points. First, the opposition team has said that this war has been caused by different ideological and political views. However, during the Cold War, the United States helped us with fighting the Soviet Union. How is different ideological and political views relevant when they helped us only 20 years ago? So this has absolutely no weight in this debate, and we have won this point. And finally, they brought up the value of human lives, and we do, as the Taliban, value human lives. We want all of our soldiers to fight with valor, and we want all of our soldiers to die with honor and go to heaven. And that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for our right to govern ourselves, to protect our people, and maintain our right to rule this country. So, for all of these reasons, I strongly urge a vote in favor of the proposition. Thank you.